This is VFL Weekly Wrap. Now the results for round 7 last week. Essendon smashed Sydney by 65 points at Windy Hill. Footscray beat Casey by 18 at the Whitten Oval. Box Hill beat Werribee by 16 points at Chirnside Park. Now Southport Sharks drew Port Melbourne up on the Gold Coast. Surprise result there, draw. Brisbane beat North Melbourne by 27 points at Arden Street. Collingwood smashed the Northern Bullhounds by 75 points at Preston. Carlton beat Sandringham by 18 points at Princess Park. Frankston beat Coburg and Frilla by a point at Frankston. Very contentious umpiring decision there. Cost Coburg the match. And GWS beat Geelong by 32 points at Cardinia Park. Now let's look at the round 8 games. There's 9 games. 3 teams have the bye. Essendon, Frankston, Brisbane. There's a game on Friday afternoon at 3:30. Sydney Carlton at the SCG. Sydney having a horrible season. They're 1-5. Carlton are 2-4. I don't think both teams will make the finals from here. Sydney being depleted by injuries. But I think Sydney might get a win there and get their second win. It'll be a close game though. Now there are games on Saturday. Victoria Park at 10 o'clock in the morning. Collingwood GWS. This is going to be a belter of a game. GWS, the only undefeated team in the VFL. 6-0. Collingwood are 4-2, travelling nicely. I think Collingwood will get them. I think GWS are due for a loss. Collingwood very good at Victoria Park. Now Gold Coast play Box Hill at Carrara at 11 o'clock in the morning. This is another belter. The Suns are struggling. They're 2-3. And Box Hill travelling very nicely. They're 5-1. I think the Suns will get them. Being at home, I think they'll be too strong and get their season back on track. Now Williamstown play Footscray Point Gellibrand at 3:05. There's a twilight game. Be an interesting game. Willie 2-4. Well, they need to get some wins on the board. Footscray doing nicely. They're 4-2. It's a hard game. You know what? I'm picking Footscray. I think they'll get Williamstown and probably end their season. A very good game is Saturday night at Northport Oval. Port Melbourne 1-4 and a draw. Geelong 3-3. Won their first 3, lost their last 3. This is another tough game. Port Melbourne's last 2 weeks have been pretty good. I reckon Port might get Geelong here. But it should be a close game. 3 games on Sunday. This will be the game I'm going to. Coburg against Northern Bullhounds at Coburg City Oval. Battle for Bell Street. Coburg 2-4. Well, they could have easily had another 2 wins for the year. They've been unlucky. Bullhounds, well, they're not going to win a game this year. They're 0-6. Their percentage is under 40%. It's woeful. Well, you expect the Bullhounds to come out firing, but really, Coburg should teach them a lesson here. Coburg should get a good win here and keep their finals chances alive. Another good game at Beach Oval at 2:05 p.m. Sandringham Werribee should be an interesting game. These 2 teams have only met once in the last 6 years, so they don't play each other that often. Sandringham struggling. They're 1-5. Werribee 3-4. All their 4 losses have been under 3 goals. Last year they'll be winning those games. With all the players that they've lost, they're still competitive, but they're not the team they once were. I expect Werribee to come out firing and beat Sandringham because Sandringham have been disappointing and they're clearly lacking. Being affiliated with St Kilda, they just don't have the depth. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if Sandy do a number on them. But they've been struggling to score, and against one of the best defensive teams in the comp, Werribee should win this game. And the match at Arden Street at 2 o'clock, North Melbourne Richmond. North Melbourne 3 wins, 2 losses and a draw. Richmond 4 wins, 2 losses. Their percentage is 85, Richmond. This is a tough game. Like, you don't know what you're going to get out of Richmond. North Melbourne been very competitive. They weren't disgraced last week. And the other loss was to Box Hill away, and they only just lost that. So, being at Arden Street, I expect North Melbourne to beat Richmond. But that's a big game. So that's my preview of the VFL. Join me on VFL Weekly Wrap on Spotify every Mondays. See you next week.